Good morning, everyone. My name is Tom Stutz. I'm the president of CAMP, which stands for Citizens Advocating Memorial Preservation. We're here in Little Valley at the Cattaraugus County Memorial and Historical Building at the corner of Court and 7th Street. This is CAMP's third Memorial Day ceremony at this building. The first few ceremonies that we had were held after the annual Little Valley Day Parade. This will be our first at 9 o'clock in the morning. The parade starts at 10 a.m. from the fire hall and will pass past this building. Camp ceremony will focus on the Civil War soldiers and sailors, but we ask that you honor all men and women who served in the U.S. military on this Memorial Day. We'd like to continue now with General Grant, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Where do you want me?
Come right up here.
Anytime.
Right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll continue now with a poem that was written by one of our camp members, Clark Kessler. A few years ago, Clark could not be here today, so Nancy Barger is going to read the poem written by Clark Kessler.
Brave men with tears. They have been silent now for many years, without talking or moving, but not without tears. They are on their next step of life's sure game, but residents of Cattaraugus County just the same. Some have their name and rank carved in granite, but others we know not where they may be present. They are the many brave men aged 18 to 44 who left family and all to go fight in the Civil War. As patriots true and bold, they never received any gold, but just some hardtack and hardship, we are told. Men they became within 3 years, those that made it home to see their peers. For Cattaraugus County to remember them all, they dreamed of a memorial that would never fall. They wanted it fireproof of brick and plaster in order to prevent a would-cause disaster. A whole building with a museum it would be, with artifacts and names of the men for all to see. With a glass dome to light up heaven from the sky and see the stars at night, one for each man that had died. It was in 1914 when they dedicated their dream, a memorial that forever was supposed to gleam.
Thank you, Nancy, very much. The next part of our ceremony will be a reading of a representative name of a soldier or sailor from each town in Cattaraugus County and several from Chautauqua County. These are the men that gave the last full measure of devotion. And we'll have 4 different individuals read the names. We'll start with Mr. General Grant. So you just say from this town and then
They gave their last full measure of devotion. Cattaraugus County Boys in Blue. Allegheny, Ira S. Thurber, Lieutenant, Company I, 64th New York Infantry, killed at Gettysburg, July 2nd, 1863. Ashford, Jacob Goodbread, Private, Company B, 197th New York Infantry, taken prisoner at the Battle of the Wilderness, May 5th, 1864, died in captivity at Andersonville Prison Camp, October 1864. Carrollton, Eugene Ballett, Sergeant, Company A, 154th New York Infantry, taken prisoner at the Battle of Gettysburg, July 4th, 1863, and died in hospital in Richmond, Virginia, February 15th, 1864. Cold Spring, Samuel S. Haywood, private, 64th New York Infantry, killed May 6, 1864, at the Battle of the Wilderness and buried on the battlefield. Conewango, Thomas Coates, private, Company E, 9th New York Cavalry, died at an unknown location in Virginia. Dayton, Barzelia and Alva Merrill, father and son, Company K, 154th New York Infantry, both killed in the Battle of Chancellorsville, Virginia, May 5th. May 1863. East Otto, Lafayette Morrow, Company I, 37th New York Infantry, killed at Williamsburg, Virginia, May 5th, 1862. Elko, town only existed from 1890 to 1965. Ellicottville, Allinson Crosby, Captain, Company D, 154th New York Infantry, died of wounds at Officers Hospital, Nashville, Tennessee, July 9th, 1864.
They gave their last full measure of devotion. Farmersville, Alfred E. Knight, private, Company K, 105th New York Infantry, captured, prisoner at Andersonville, died at Annapolis, Maryland, April 6, 1865. Franklinville, Charles Williams, Landsman, United States Navy, killed January 16, 1865 at Memphis, Tennessee. Freedom, David H. Wood, Jr., private, Company I, 37th New York Infantry, killed at the Battle of Fair Oaks, Virginia, June 3, 1862. Great Valley, Taylor Conklin, private, 14th New York Heavy Artillery, taken prisoner at Petersburg, Virginia, sent to Danville, Virginia prison camp, died in a Union hospital, December 1864. Hinsdale, Samuel Thompson, Corporal, Company H, 71st New York, killed at the Battle of Gettysburg, July the 3rd, 1863. Humphrey, Russell E. Barber, 78th New York Infantry, died September 1864 at Culpeper, Virginia, and rests internally there. Issaquah, Richard T. Bristow, private, Company K, 85th New York Infantry, later detached to the 1st New York Light Artillery, taken sick, died the day his term of enlistment expired. Leon, Charles H. Dye, private, Company H, 100th New York Infantry, wounded, taken prisoner at the Battle of Fair Oaks, Virginia, May 31st through June 1st of 1862. He died of his wounds and exposure January 17th, 1863. Little Valley, Henry V. Fuller, Captain, Company F, 64th New York Infantry, killed in action at the head of his troops at the Battle of Gettysburg, July 2nd, 1863.
They gave the last full measure of devotion. Linden, Edward F. Pratt, private, Company I, 6th New York Cavalry. Instantly killed near Berryville, Virginia, September 4th, 1864. Machias, John B. Johnson, Private, 2nd New York Mounted Rifles. Died at Petersburg, Virginia, July 7th, 1864. Mansfield, George Davis, 64th New York Infantry. Died of sickness at Elmira, New York, at age 16. New Albion, Adson A. Andrews, Sergeant, 179th New York Infantry. Died while in Danville, Virginia prison after only 9 months of service and buried there. Napoli, Quincy Brown, Captain, 9th New York Cavalry. Died of wounds July 17th, 1864 at Point Lookout, Maryland. Olean, Benjamin H. Tallman, Sergeant, Company M, 24th New York Cavalry. Killed in action outside Petersburg, Virginia, August 18th, 1864. Otto, Augustus A. Shippey, Company B, 154th New York Infantry. Killed at Doug Gap, Georgia, May 8th, 1863. Perrysburg, Henry J. Van Black, Corporal, Company A, 64th New York Infantry. Killed in action while carrying the colors at the Battle of Antietam, September 17th, 1862. Persian, Henry A. Darby, Captain, 64th New York Infantry. Killed in battle, April 8th, 1865, the day before the surrender at Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia.
It's my great honor to honor these men because they gave the last full measure of devotion, their lives. Portville, Edgar Baker, Company E, 85th New York Infantry, captured at the Battle of Plymouth, North Carolina, April 20th, 1864. Died while prisoner at Andersonville Prison Camp, August 22nd, 1984. Randolph, David T. Wiggins, 1st Lieutenant, Company B, 64th New York Infantry, killed at the Battle of Spotsylvania Courthouse, Virginia, May 12th, 1864. Salamanca, Jacob T. Jimerson, Private, Company C, 13th New York Heavy Artillery. Died in hospital at Portsmouth, Virginia. South Valley, Ira Bucktooth, 51st Pennsylvania Infantry, killed in service. Yorkshire, Reuben King, Private, Company A, 188th New York Infantry, killed in battle near City Point, Virginia, 1864. Chautauqua County, Brothers in Blue. Dunkirk, William O. Stevens, Colonel, 72nd New York Infantry, wounded in action, May 3rd, 1863, at the Battle of Chancellorsville, Virginia. Died on May 5th, 1863 as a result of wounds. Stockton, Reed W. Cummings, Private, Private, Company I, 112th New York Infantry, died of typhoid fever, Folly Island, South Carolina, September 12th, 1863. Gary, Lowry D. Barker, Private, Company F, 154th New York Infantry, captured at Gettysburg, July 1st, 1863. Held prisoner at Belle Island, Virginia, and died January 1864 at Richmond, Virginia.
Thank you. We will continue now with reenactor John Stengel, and he will read the Gettysburg Address.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this, but in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Thank you, John. Now we'd like to place the wreath on the memorial building, and the Civil War reenactors, along with Gail Bellamy, place the wreath.
There we go. We're going up the steps.
Thank you. Just a few words now about the memorial building, an update. Since we last met here last Memorial Day, we've had several meetings with the county. There was also a TV coverage by Channel 2 News, did a little brief piece on the memorial building. The county petitioned the Supreme Court, New York State Supreme Court, to make a ruling on their the deed for this property, an 1866 deed. And in January of 2017, the court ruled that the county could sell this property if they so choose. Later in the early spring, we met with the county and they proposed a plan for potential sale with a little bit of land around this site and some parking places. And as we currently stand here, probably next week, they will be releasing a bid document that gives the details of what they'll be looking for if they put this up for sale at a public bid. So hopefully next week we'll have some real solid news of where we're going from here. But that's kind of the update of where we stand right now. I guess the only other thing was I'd like to thank you all for attending. Remember this memorial building and those brave men. It was dedicated to on September 7th, 1914. Hope you can stick around for the parade and the cemetery ceremony. And make sure you thank a vet for his service today. That will conclude our ceremony today. Thank you for coming.